Hello, my dear friends. How are you doing? Hope you are having an amazing day and not having to deal with drama. Ready for new stories I have for you today? Let's go to the first one. Buckle up, as it's a long one, and don't forget to listen to the end of the story to hear my insights. Enjoy the stories, guys, and please like and subscribe. And of course, don't forget to leave a comment. I, 28 female, am currently 19 weeks pregnant. My partner, 29 male, and I are very excited, as this is our first baby, and we've been trying for a few months. We announced the pregnancy a month ago at a dinner party we hosted, and everyone seemed surprised and overjoyed. My sister, 35 female, who I will call Kay, immediately burst into tears and asked me how I could do this to her. I stared at her and asked, "What?" She started ranting, saying that I always got everything I wanted, which is not true. I worked hard for all that I have, and that she knew I got pregnant just so I could rub her infertility in her face. She screamed at me for 5 minutes about how I didn't deserve to be a mother, and she should be the one pregnant right now. My parents left with her soon after, and the party was basically over. I was really disturbed by my sister's reaction, because we had been pretty close before, and she had never done anything like this. Kay called me the next day, apologizing for how she acted at my announcement, and asked if we could meet up for coffee. I accepted. We met up and she pretended as nothing had happened. Then she started a big speech about her infertility, how heartbreaking it is to be growing life inside of her just to lose it, and how she had always wanted children of her own. She then proceeded to ask me if I could consider getting an A to make things fair, or letting her adopt my baby. I stared at her and asked if she was serious. Kay said she was serious. I just dropped my part of the bill on the table and left. Elle texted me a rant that night about how I'd made Kay cry, and how all they wanted was to be parents, and that this meant so much to them, and I owed them for being more successful than them. I and my partner invested many years into our jobs, and we have worked very hard to earn what we earn now. I told them that my partner and I had been hoping for kids too, and that I was not giving up my baby. He hung up. She later sent me a long letter, 4 pages, about how she had always wanted to be a mother, and could I consider either A or letting her adopt my baby, how I should care about my older sister's happiness, how she would make a better mom, how the oldest kid should have the first grandchild, and how I could always just have another baby since it was so easy for me to conceive. After that, she quieted down some, and I thought we were done with this. Except it wasn't. She had posted my sonogram on her Facebook and captioned it, "Elle and I are expecting. We can't wait to meet our little princess." I was seeing red. I texted her and demanded she takes the post down. No reply. I texted Elle. No reply. So I called my mother and told her what happened. She was able to make Kay take the post down, luckily enough. Kay has called me petty for calling my mom and has continued to demand I give up my baby. I sent her a letter explaining that I had enough of her nonsense. I am keeping my baby, and that I recommend she get some help. I added that if she continues, I will not hesitate to call 999. This weekend, however, was the absolute last straw. My mom and dad have the spare key to my house, and while she was over at their house for brunch, she took the key. While my partner and I were at work, she broke into our house and stole all the clothing, blankets, nappies, bottles, and pretty much any other item we had bought for the baby, except furniture. It was later returned after my mom found it in her car. I called 999, but they told me I couldn't do anything because I had no proof and because it was all returned. My partner and I are moving in April, but I'm still scared my sister will find out where we live and take my child. I get that she's upset and jealous due to her infertility, but that shouldn't mean I have to give up my baby. My parents know about this, and they've been doing their best to get her some help. She doesn't want to adopt because she wants a child that's her own flesh and blood. I'm due in August, and the stress she's causing cannot and will not be good for me or the baby. My partner is looking into a cease and desist letter. Is there anything else I should do or say? I'm scared for my baby. OP needs to be very careful. It's sad that she's infertile, and I'm sure that's caused her some mental trauma, but she's acting like that and has a ton of jealousy for OP. Instead of being happy for OP, supporting her, and being like a second mother to OP's child, she's made OP an enemy and will likely get herself locked up in jail for this behavior. OP needs to get a restraining order, in my opinion, as soon as possible. Imperil59 says, "Your sister is mentally ill and needs help. I don't say that as a joke or to insult her. She's sick and dangerous. Honestly, I think your fears are well-founded. I would block her on everything and give your parents very strict orders that if you find out they've given her access to any info about your living situation or pregnancy, that you will be forced to cut them all off for your safety. I'd also go talk to a lawyer to see if there's anything you can do to protect yourself here. In the US, you can get a restraining order so that the person will be arrested if they come near you. Last, though, would be to make sure you have cameras recording your new place. Deleted user says, you should block her number, get a restraining order, move far, far away, and never speak to her again. Chemistry Fan 29 says, I'm going to say do not eat any food you have in your home, wash your sheets, and get the home tested for toxins that can cause a miscarriage. I would not put it past your sister to not just steal your baby stuff, but poison your food and do crap to cause you to have a miscarriage. I know that sounds messed up, but I have that strong feeling that your sister did that. Get a new apartment to move to. Till then, change your locks and get a restraining order. Update. The support I've received from this website is overwhelming. Thank you all for your comments. Although I couldn't reply to all of them, they are appreciated. We have had the locks changed, cameras installed, and a Ring doorbell. I've started saving every letter and screenshotting every message my sister has sent, and plan to take them to court for a restraining order very soon. We've also been seriously documenting everything. My husband and I are planning a trip to Ireland for our anniversary next week, and it's going to be good to clear our heads for my sister. I've called 999 to report her for harassment, and they gave her a warning. She's contacted me saying that if I won't give her my child, I can at least pay for multiple rounds of IVF, which I have not replied to other than refusing. She's been begging my parents to convince me to give up my baby, which they refuse to do. They have also been given a statement that basically says that if they give her my contact information, they will not see my baby, to which they have agreed. I've since changed my phone number, and we're moving very soon. My sister does not know our new address. She actually stood on our stoop for 20 minutes a few days ago, banging on our door and yelling. My husband opened a window and told her that if she didn't leave, we would let the dog out and threatened to call the police. We have a rather small but hyper puppy who jumps on everyone and barks a lot, and she's quite scared of dogs actually, so this made her leave. I started working from home last week, as did my husband, and we followed the advice of one of the comments, washed all the baby stuff, as well as made sure none of the food in our kitchen was messed with. None was, luckily. We're planning on getting a restraining order as soon as possible, and are looking forward to our trip. I'm already sick of being pregnant, and I'm not even in the 3rd trimester. I just want my baby. I, 24 female, have a friend, 26, who has always been avidly child-free. I've known her for 12 years, and she's always hated kids and talked crap about babies. I personally don't mind that she's like this, although it is annoying when she goes on rants about how ugly people's babies are, and I've known her to call toddlers a-holes. I know this sounds unbelievable, trust me. I feel like I'm not in real life. She texted all of our friends last week to say that she's having a very important dinner, and she needs everyone to come. This is 15+ people. In a smaller group chat, she told me and 3 other girls that she is expecting a new arrival, and she wants to announce it at the party. We were all super shocked, but very happy for her. She was very evasive with questions, but I honestly just assumed she was feeling weird about being pregnant, admitting she had decided to have a child after all, and I brushed it off. So we all get to this dinner party at a local restaurant. She stands up to make a speech, saying, as well as I can remember, I'm really excited to announce that we are expecting not 1, but 3 new arrivals. Everyone was shook until she handed out the ultrasounds, and they looked nothing like babies. We all looked at her confused when she said, Princess, her cat, has been a naughty little girl and is blessing us with 3 little ones. I'm sure you're all super excited to meet the babies, and there will be a naming party when they're here. I think the last part was a joke, but needless to say, most of us were quite pissed she did this. 2 of the women there have been very vocal about having fertility issues. I'm also pregnant, and so are 2 other girls there. I feel like this whole thing was set up to belittle the fact that most of the people in the group, ranging from my age to mid-30s, are settling down and having kids. One of the women with fertility issues actually left upset soon after, and the other one just after her. I called a cab after I'd eaten my meal and left early. I immediately blocked her on everything because I'm sick of her being so anti-kid, especially when she was addressing multiple people who are pregnant and struggling to conceive. I sent a message in the smaller group chat saying that what she did was insensitive and disgusting, and she responded saying it was a joke, and I should lighten up. And I obviously don't know her very well, considering she has been vocal about not wanting to meet my baby. I heard from a friend who stayed that she ended the party with a toast to still hating human spawn. I'm not sure if I'm overreacting because of the baby, or if this was genuinely terrible. Am I the a-hole? I feel like this is some kind of overcompensation. Maybe she feels left out because of her choices, so instead of reaching out, she's acting out for attention? Or she's feeling judged for not having kids, so she's doubling down on her child-free stance in an angry or insulting manner. Regardless, even if she chooses not to have kids, that doesn't excuse her throwing a party that kind of comes across like she's throwing a tantrum. Keaton Potatoes says, she's a mega a-hole for not spaying her cat, on top of everything else. You're not the a-hole. Indeed I am not, says. Not the a-hole. I will say I have a child-free friend who loves her cat, and would not be at all surprised if she threw a party upon finding out her cat was pregnant. Not in a malicious way. She just really loves her cat, and has a good sense of humor. And she's never been hostile about children as your friend has been. And also, sometimes toddlers are a-holes. All that being said, it sounds like your friend did this maliciously, and you absolutely are not overreacting. No one needs that kind of toxicity in their lives. Substick Count says, honestly, you're underreacting. If a supposed friend pulled this level of trolling, cruel, and narcissistic nonsense, it would easily be enough for me to blow up on them and end the friendship immediately. That's so incredibly disrespectful and gross. She is a really terrible person from the sound of it. Not the a-hole, but seriously, dump her as a friend. This is the dilemma. I, 35 male, am married to a wonderful man, 37. We have 2 amazing kids, 3 male twins, together. My husband and his parents have a small clinic where they provide their services. My husband is a dentist. My father-in-law is a dentist too, and mother-in-law is a dermatologist. It was only the 3 of them in the beginning, but the clinic has expanded, and they've hired more doctors to provide more services. Here's where I come to the equation. As the clinic is growing, they have a project in mind. More space to build around 5 new offices, consulting rooms, a small operating room, x-ray room, ultrasound room. The project also includes a whole renovation in the lobby and also landscaping. I'm an architect, and my husband asked me if I could manage the project. I first declined because I already have a project, and told him that I can refer a fellow architect who just started a new studio. She is smart, and I know she can handle it very well. So after insisting, and him lecturing me about how disappointed he'd be if I'd ever think of going to see another dentist, and also asked me how I would feel if he refers another dentist to see me. And to be honest, I understood, because if I had a dental issue, I want no one but my husband to see me. So we 4 went to visit the site. I haven't been there many times, to see what they had in mind, and it was all fine. We went to a cafe to discuss about some things, and I asked about the budget they had, and they told me about the amount they had in mind. So I asked, is my payment included there? They looked at each other like pissed off, and mother-in-law told me, wait, do you expect us to pay since this is your husband's and one day it'll be your kids? And I said, yeah, I still have to dedicate a lot of time doing this, or do you expect me to design and supervise it for free? So we just ended abruptly, and my husband and I went home. He didn't say anything on the way back home, but was seemingly upset. When we arrived, he told me I was unbelievable, and told me that the idea of expecting me to pay if I require his services would never cross his mind, and reminded me that it'd be like if I expect my kids to pay because it'll be theirs one day. I reminded him that when we were engaged, I booked an appointment with his mom, and I paid, and let him know that this work is way more expensive than an appointment, because they also expect me to supervise the project. But he said it was different because we weren't married. I have to admit that I had a dental issue last year, and hubby was the one who solved it. But this project is way more expensive, and I even told them that I was willing to give them a 50% off, but they said this was out of the question. My husband only speaks the bare minimum now, and mother-in-law said that this is like if I charge my kids. So am I the a-hole, or do they just want to take advantage of me? Well, I think a 50% discount on a project of this size is already very generous. I'm sure it will require significant commitment from OP, such that it would affect OP taking on full-paying clients. Perhaps OP could remind them that if she takes on the work for free, she won't be able to take on as much paid work, which consequently will have an immediate effect on her family. And now let's hear the community's opinion. Merlin Big says, "Not the a-hole. You'll be spending a lot more time than they would on a dental appointment. That means that you will not be working on another project that would pay your full fee. So you would lose money by doing it for free. 50% off is a very generous offer." Prestigious Candle 4 says, "Equating an appointment with a project that you have dedicated time and effort to for several weeks, if not months, is ridiculous. It rubs me the wrong way that your husband and in-laws are expecting you to do it for free, and the only repayment is that one day it will be your children's. What if the business tanks, or you no longer have the clinic anymore in the future? I feel it's very disrespectful that they didn't even consider paying you anything. If you do go ahead with this, make sure you have a contract written up stipulating your pay and exactly what your responsibilities are. Not the a-hole." Kikogi says, "They're totally taking advantage of you. We find this as artists too. Friends and family either want free, large discounts, or they value your work and pay us what we're worth and more. Don't let them take advantage of you. The time you'll spend doing their project is time you won't be able to spend working on another paying project."